I'm Ava Brooks, and if you had told me 2 years ago that my own sister would steal my wedding, with my parents' full blessing, I would have laughed in disbelief. But there I was, standing frozen in my mother's lavish living room wearing the wedding gown I had dreamed about since I was a girl. Watching Harper, my younger sister, parade around in white champagne glass, raised high, basking in applause, like she had cured cancer. She caught my eye, her smile wide, and polished as if this moment was hers by birthright. To her, it was just another picture-perfect scene for her online followers, a story she could post, caption and collect likes, for 3 weeks earlier. My life was peaceful. Liam and I were planning the quiet wedding we'd always wanted. Small, personal. Nothing flashy. Just the two of us surrounded by close friends and a handful of family. We had picked the perfect date. May 20th, and the perfect venue. An art gallery tucked away in the heart of Santa Fe where we first met. Every detail mattered, because every piece of it told our story. It wasn't about showmanship, it was about us. Then came the family dinner. Harper stood at the center of it all, wearing her signature smugness and a brand new diamond ring. "We're getting married," she announced, wrapping her arm around Logan's waist. May 20th. "Isn't that wild?" She said it like fate, like she had stumbled upon my wedding date by coincidence, but deep down I knew better. My parents didn't blink. My mom smiled through the whole thing. Her phone recording every second while my dad popped open the champagne. Not one word of protest, not one glance in my direction. That night when I left coat clutched tight, my heart racing and my hands shaking, I told myself it was just a date. I tried to convince myself that it didn't matter, that love was bigger than any venue or calendar. But I was wrong, because Harper wasn't just taking my date. She was taking my story, my place, my worth, and she did it with a smile. What I didn't know then was that this betrayal would push me to the edge and force me to become someone I never thought I'd have to be. Before everything fell apart, my life felt like a quiet melody, nothing loud, nothing showy, just a steady rhythm of contentment. I met Liam on a grey January afternoon at Gallant Gallery, a place that felt like a secret tucked between 2 weathered adobe buildings in downtown Santa Fe. I was there for a local art exhibit, sipping lukewarm coffee and pretending to study the pieces when I caught him standing alone in front of a sculpture, a fragile structure of shattered glass shaped into a rising phoenix. It was breathtaking. And so was the way he looked at it, as if he saw something no one else could. We started talking cautiously at first about the sculpture, then about art, and then about life. By the time the gallery lights dimmed for closing, I realized I wasn't ready to say goodbye. Liam was unlike anyone I'd ever met, where most people seemed in a rush to prove themselves. He was quiet, steady, deliberate. He listened, not just to words, but to everything in between. In the way he looked at me, it was like I mattered in a way I wasn't used to. Our love grew in the same quiet way. No grand declarations, no sweeping romantic cliches. We built something solid in the small moments. Slow Sunday mornings at the farmer's market. Late-night talks about nothing and everything. Hours spent reading in companionable silence. He never made me feel like I had to compete for his attention. I could simply exist, and that was enough. When Liam proposed, it was just as thoughtful as everything else he did. No audience, no stage, just us on a quiet hiking trail overlooking the desert. The sky stray in molten gold as the sun dipped behind the cliffs. He pulled out a small, simple ring and asked if I wanted to keep building a life with him. My heart had never felt so sure. I said yes before he could even finish the question. We started planning the wedding immediately, wanting it to reflect who we were. No glitz, no spectacle, just love and meaning. We chose May 20th because it was the anniversary of the day we met, and the gallant gallery because it was where it all began. Everything about it felt right. I handpicked every detail, from the flowers' wild desert roses and olive branches to my wedding dress, which I had custom made by a former student who embroidered delicate olive branches along the hem. Because Liam once told me I reminded him of quiet resilience, for the first time in my life, I felt completely in control. My career, design professor, was on track. My personal life was full, and the wedding planning was like the final touch to a life I had built with care. My parents, while never overly affectionate, gave polite nods of approval when I shared my plans. My mother, always more interested in appearances than emotions, simply asked about the guest list and the menu. But even that small attention felt like enough. Harper, she seemed detached as always, bouncing from one passion project to another, never satisfied for long, had always been the bright, dazzling one, the one who drew attention effortlessly, the one who my parents adored openly. I had long made peace with living in her shadow. Or at least I thought I had. Maybe that's why I never saw it coming. Never thought for a second that she would want what I had until the day she decided it was hers to take. Looking back, there were signs. Little comments, sidelong glances, hints of envy that I brushed off because I couldn't imagine my own sister would ever betray me. But I was wrong. So very wrong. It started with a phone call from Harper. Her voice was bright, breathless, almost giddy. "Big news," she chirped. "We have to do a family dinner. It's huge." I should have known then. There was a sharpness beneath her excitement, something I'd grown familiar with over the years, but learned to ignore for the sake of peace. The dinner was set for the following Friday. I walked into my parents' house expecting the usual. My mother fussing over the table settings my father glued to his. Tablet Harper arriving fashionably late and making everything about her. But this time she was already there, glowing in a tight white cocktail dress, standing beneath a banner that read, "She said yes." Balloons bobbed along the ceiling. A cake shaped like a diamond ring sat proudly in the center of the table, and my mom was recording every second like a documentary director. My stomach dropped before I could ask. Harper raised her left hand, flashing a massive engagement ring, and beamed. "Noah and I are getting married." The room erupted in applause. My dad popped champagne. My mother wiped away fake tears of joy. I just stood there frozen, blinking at the scene unfolding in front of me. Noah, the man, she'd only been dating for 6 months. And then came the real punch. "We've picked a date," Harper announced, squeezing Noah's hand dramatically. "May 20th. "Isn't that crazy? Meant to be right?" The air sucked out of the room. I glanced at my parents, waiting for anyone to say something. My wedding date. The day Liam and I had chosen a year ago, the day we'd carefully planned everything around, but no one said a word. "That's my wedding day," I finally managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Harper laughed, a high tinkling sound that set my teeth on edge. "Yeah, I know, but it's not like you trademarked it, Anna. Besides, yours is just a tiny ceremony, right? Ours is going to be a real event." She smiled, wide eyes gleaming. "We're doing it at the Aurora Resort." Noah's uncle got us the ballroom. I felt like I was underwater, watching everything move in slow motion. My father shrugged. "It makes sense. Anna Harper's wedding will have more people, more family, more presents." My mother chimed in, not even looking at me. You can just move yours to the following weekend. It's not like it'll matter. Yours is more personal. Anyway, I wanted to scream, to flip the table, to smash that stupid diamond cake, to shake them until they saw how cruel and absurd this was. But I didn't. I just stood there, my heart thudding in my ears, my hands shaking at my sides. And then I turned, grabbed my coat and left. My mum's voice followed me out the door. Think about the family, sweetheart. I did think about the family all the way home, about how I had spent my whole life being told to compromise, to shrink, to step aside for Harper. This was just the final unforgivable blow. But it wasn't over. A week later, the call came from the Gallant Gallery. I was grading papers in my office when my phone buzzed. "Hi, Anna. It's Emily from Gallant Gallery. I'm really sorry to have to tell you this, but your booking for May 20th has been cancelled." My heart stopped. "That's not possible," I said. "We confirmed months ago the deposit was paid. That's our date." Emily hesitated. It was rebooked yesterday in person under Harper Martinez. The world around me blurred. I didn't hear the rest of her apology. All I could see was Harper's name. My sister's name. Scrolled across the contract that had once been mine. She hadn't just taken my date, she had taken my place. I hung up without saying goodbye. Staring blankly at my desk as the weight of it all crashed down. This wasn't just about a wedding anymore. This was about Eraser, about my family, making it painfully clear. Once and for all where I stood. That night when I told Liam I expected anger or shock or something. But he just listened, his jaw tight, his eyes steady. He didn't interrupt, didn't rush to fix it. He just let me pour out all of my heartbreak, all of my disbelief until I was empty. And then, after a long silence, he said the words that would change everything. "We're not letting them erase you." And for the first time in days, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, he was right. The morning after that crushing phone call, I woke up with puffy eyes and an ache in my chest that felt impossible to shake. I stared at my wedding dress, still hanging on the back of my bedroom door, its delicate embroidery catching the early light, and felt nothing but emptiness. I had spent months building this dream piece by piece, and in the blink of an eye, my own sister had bulldozed through it like it was nothing. By noon, I had cancelled everything. The florist, the string quartet, the catering order. I even logged onto Pinterest and deleted every single wedding board I'd carefully curated over the past year. It felt like sealing away a version of myself that no longer existed. That night, as I sat curled up on the couch, my phone buzzed. Liam was out running errands, and I was too drained to even look. When he walked through the door, he found me in the same spot. I'd been all day, staring at nothing, clutching a blanket, like it might keep me from unraveling. He didn't say anything at first, just sat down beside me. Silent and steady like he always was. And then he asked, "Do you trust me?" I blinked at him confused. "Of course I do." "Why?" He stood, grabbed his keys, and held out his hand. "Come with me." I didn't ask where we were going. I didn't care. I followed him out the door, numb and exhausted, letting him drive us into the fading light of evening. We left the city behind the road, stretching ahead like an open question, until we pulled up to a tall iron gate draped in ivy. A security camera clicked. The gate opened. "Liam," I whispered. "Where are we?" He didn't answer, just kept driving down a winding gravel road lined with juniper trees until a house appeared. A stunning modern masterpiece of glass and stone shimmering like it had grown from the earth itself. He parked, turned to me and said, "I designed it. I built it. I own it." I stared at him, my mouth dry. "What do you mean you own it?" David sighed and took my hands. "There's a lot I haven't told you. Not because I didn't trust you, but because I've seen what happens when people find out about money. My family owed money. Private estates, all of it. I walked away from that life, built my own path. This house, it's mine. And if you still want to get married on May 20th, this is where we'll do it." I felt tears sting my eyes. Not from sadness this time, but from something I hadn't felt in days. "Hope you're not doing this to one up." "Harper, are you?" I asked, my voice trembling. He smiled softly. "No, I'm doing this because no one gets to erase you. Not anymore." That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. And the next morning I woke up with a clarity I hadn't known I was capable of. I wasn't just going to survive this. I was going to reclaim my story. A few days later, my phone buzzed with a message that felt like a spark in a pile of dry leaves. "Noah, you deserve better than what they did to you. Can we talk at first?" I ignored it, but Liam, calm as ever, said, "Answer him." Sometimes the cracks tell you more than the surface ever could. So I did. I met Noah at a quiet cafe downtown and was the cocky grin, the bravado. He looked tired, defeated even. And then he dropped the bombshell. Harper had lied to him too, about me, about the wedding, about everything. What's worse, he had proof. He slid a flash drive across the table, texts, emails, recordings. "She admitted she stole your date out of spite. She even tried to bribe your gallery coordinator." He hesitated, then added, "She's been running this like a PR campaign. I think it's time someone saw the truth." I took the flash drive with shaking hands. "Why are you doing this?" Because he said quietly, "I'm tired of being a pawn. And maybe it's time." Harper finally faces the consequences. That night, Liam and I sat at the kitchen table, going through everything Noah had given us. Every cruel word, every petty scheme, and every calculated move Harper had made to push me aside. Liam looked at me with fire in his eyes. "We're not just going to fight back," he said. "We're going to end this." And I believed him the days before the wedding felt surreal. Quiet, focused, determined. Liam finalized seating charts with surgical precision, while I oversaw every last detail at the estate. Whispers about our secret ceremony had started to ripple through the art community. And then, right on cue, Harper's text arrived. "Harper. Hey sis, just a heads up. We're dropping our wedding trailer this weekend. Hope your little backyard thing is going okay." I stared at the message for a moment, then locked my phone. Let her gloat. Her fall was, coming 2 days later, the Albuquerque Journal released the headline, "Architect Liam Martinez to marry educator Ava Brooks in exclusive private estate ceremony." Within hours, it spread across social media. Old friends, former students, even people I hadn't spoken to in years flooded my inbox with congratulations and respect. Harper's next message came fast. "Harper, why is Noah refusing to confirm our guest list?" "What did you do?" I said nothing. I didn't need to. The wedding day arrived crisp and clear. Sunlight pouring over the desert hills like warm honey. Guests filed in, eyes wide with amazement at the sprawling estate. The air buzzed with curiosity and quiet admiration. The string quartet played a haunting melody Liam had written just for me, a song full of tension that melted into hope. As I walked down the aisle, I wasn't scared or bitter. I felt powerful, seen finally whole. After the ceremony, as dusk settled and golden light spilled across the courtyard. Liam stood for his toast. He held his glass steady, his voice clear. Today isn't just about love. It's about truth and standing tall when someone tries to erase you. He looked to the AV team, and today we want to share the full story. The lights dimmed, the screen flickered to life. First came Harper's voice, crisp and unmistakable. She'll cancel, she always does. She's soft. That gallery is mine. Gasps rippled through the room. Then screenshots messages of her bribing the gallery coordinator, boasting to Noah about crushing me. And finally the knockout, hidden video of her laughing over wine. If Anna really loved that guy, she'd step aside. She's just background noise. Silence, a heavy, loaded silence. And then a wave of applause rising unstoppable. That's when the ballroom doors burst open. Harper stood there, frozen still in her designer gown. Makeup perfect, but her eyes wild with panic. She stepped forward hesitantly, scanning the crowd, searching for anyone who might save her. My mother rose slowly, her voice sharp and cutting. Harper, enough. Leave Harper's. Face crumpled Linda. You can't. You've embarrassed us enough. This isn't your day. Get out. Harper faltered, her eyes wide and glossy, before turning and stumbling out the door. It slammed shut behind her, echoing through the hall, like a full stop at the end of a long, bitter chapter. I exhaled, gripping Liam's hand tightly. The weight I'd carried for so long lifted, replaced with something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. It was over. The morning after the wedding, sunlight spilled through the windows, and for the first time in forever, I felt at peace. No more plotting, no more anxiety. Just quiet, just Liam and me. We spent our honeymoon wandering small streets in Tuscany, sipping wine, sketching, and letting the silence between us say everything. And in that stillness, I realized I had spent so long shrinking. Apologizing, making space for others, especially Harper. I didn't know how heavy it all was until it was gone. When we returned to Santa Fe, a letter was waiting. This isn't over. You stole everything from me, just wait. I read it once, folded it, and tucked it away. Her threats didn't matter anymore. A month later, the dean called. Impressed by what they'd seen and heard, they offered me a new role director of arts and equity initiatives, with a budget to mentor underrepresented student artists. I said yes, without hesitation. Meanwhile, Harper's world crumbled. Her social media silent brand deals gone. I heard whispers. She moved back in with my parents, but I didn't bother to confirm. For the first time, her violence wasn't a threat, it was freedom. One afternoon, I saw my mother at the co-op. She looked at me but said nothing. I smiled politely and walked past, feeling lighter than I ever had. Harper thought she was taking everything from me, but in the end she gave me something she never meant to, a reason to rise, and I won't ever let that